Hi everybody, this is Janet Wright. Welcome back. This is going to be another self-healing walkthrough video where I walk you through healing physical bones and joints in your physical body. I did heal muscles in the healing, but there were certain muscles in particular that I healed, but much more this set was healing bones and joints. So in this video we'll be basically healing bones and joints. But you can add muscles, just with your imagination and your thought, your intention. Just say, okay, and I'm healing the muscles too. So we might work that in a little bit, we'll see. Okay, so I already did a video where I walked you through healing your spine, the energy flow up and down your spine, so like all your 24 vertebrae here above your sacrum, and even the little discs that are in between each vertebra. We healed those, and then we also healed your sacrum bone. So now we're going to go from there downward. Okay, so we're going to heal. There's a major joint, well, two of them, one on each side, called your sacroiliac joints. And if you haven't studied this stuff, that may sort of make your mind, sort of be like, Janet, what are you talking about? But I promise you don't need a medical degree to do this video. I'll put an image up, okay? But anyway, so it's like to go from this triangle sacrum bone, it's like the sacrum bone supports your spine, right? And then from the sacrum bone, your pelvis supports your sacrum and your spine. So there's a major joint on either side where the energy flows, and also, structurally support from your spine and your sacrum to your pelvis, right? And so on either side of your pelvis are these what's called ilium bones. So here's an ilium bone and here's an ilium bone. And so the sacrum, which is sort of like a triangle-y kind of bone right there, a bunch of fused bones right here, called your sacrum, that surface where it connects with a bunch of ligaments, where they connect, that's a major joint. And there are all these nerve endings and stuff, like my chiropractor was like telling me about the sacroiliac nerves, and it's really cool stuff. But anyway, what we're going to work on is not chiropractic. Well, it could help your chiropractic experience. But anyway, we're going to work the energy flow in this joint, the sacroiliac joints from here and here, and also the joints because then the energy flows down your spine or up your spine, right? Down and into your sacrum, and then it should keep flowing, So it should be able to flow from your sacrum to your pelvis bones, your ilium, to your pelvis bones, and then it should be able to flow down your legs, right? So these are big femur bones. You have one big femur bone in each thigh, right? And so your femur, it's like this little ball socket that connects in to this part of your ilium bones in your pelvis. So that's a major joint too. Those are your hip joints right here. So you have your sacroiliac joints right here, where your pelvis connects to your sacrum, and that really is important for the wellness of your whole spine. And then you have these hip joints where your femurs connect, and the energy flows from your femur to your ilium, your pelvis bones right here. Okay, so that's what we're going to heal. We're going to heal these major joints, your sacroiliac joints, which are right here, and then your pelvis joints, which are right here. And that's huge because you want energy to flow all the way up and all the way down really easily. And you can have past life baggage and baggage from this life too, but a lot of, statistically, if you look, if you care about this stuff, you've had a lot of past lives, and then this life is just one life. So all the leftover baggage from past lives plus this one life, you statistically have more baggage from your past lives blocking all this up than from this life. So it's really cool to heal it, because then it's like it all flows together much better, like a river. So it helps you to be more physically present, spiritually present. May help you on physical, like practical levels, as far as, you know, pain management and mobility, you know, as long as possible in this life. And, you know, it'll help lighten up this life and future lives for you. Okay, so let's get to work. Basically, first we're going to imagine this, I guess we'll do a moment of healing your sacrum, because that's where we ended up in the last video. We did your spine and your sacrum. So we'll do a little bit more of the sacrum. Just imagine your sacrum. And it's kind of, you know, this triangle looking group of 5 vertebrae that are fused together. And so you just heal that with gold light coming out of your hand chakra and your fingertip chakras. And that just, you know, it generates energy whether you knew it or not, it just does. So you can use that, you know, as a healing energy source to heal these bones. And you just imagine a copy of the bone out in front of you, and then you heal it with this gold light. That you have your intention be that these energy centers are generating gold light. And then you just wash off your sacrum bone. You can too, if you're like, say you need your hands free if you're cooking or driving, you can imagine big gold suns that are shining on the bone that we're talking about, or the joint we're talking about. So imagine like 100 gold suns all around your copy, you know, and just have the gold suns shine on it rather than using your hands if you want. But if you have your hands free, I would suggest you use your hands as well, just because I feel like over time, you may not sense more by using your hands initially, but I think over time you probably will. And that'll just be an extra level of information that you get. But anyway, so you're washing off your sacrum bone with some gold light. And you know, there could be fear, there could be all sorts of things that are blocking your sacrum bone, energy flow. And you just relax and wash it off a little bit. You can imagine it maybe like a hard energy that's caked onto the bone, and just wash it off, melt it off with the gold light. Okay, and you can spin around your copy of your sacrum bone and wash off the other side of it. So now on either side, like your sacrum bone is kind of like a triangle shape. And so on these 2 sides of your sacrum bone, the left side and the right side, that's where those sacroiliac joints are. And that means that the sacrum connects through a lot of strong ligaments to your pelvis bones, basically, these ilium bones. So there's an ilium bone on either side of your sacrum. So just imagine that space in between, and that's the joint. So the space in between the sacrum and an ilium bone is a joint. And just, you can expand that, you know, so you can see that joint, that space in between with the ligaments. And you just want to wash it off with gold light. You can bring up red earth energy from the center of the earth. And feel free to take a deep breath as you work. You only want to clear what's healthy and gentle. So just use gold light and relax. And you may sense things. You may, you know, start feeling nervous or distracted, or you may be thinking about a person or an argument or something. But that's okay. You may just be intuitively picking up on some of the energy that's stuck in that joint, that sacroiliac joint. So it's okay. Just let the gold light do the work and wash out whatever's healthy and gentle for you to clear today there. And the benefit of this is then energy that needs to flow, you know, down your spine, through your sacrum, and into your pelvis will be able to flow better that way. And then same thing upward. You'll be able to flow easily upward. So again, wash out both sides. If you've only been working one side, now is the time to do the other side. Do the other sacroiliac joint. And again, as my chiropractor says, there's a lot of really cool little nerve endings and stuff in this joint between the sacrum and the ilium bone. on either side. So you just imagine that space in between there where the strong ligaments are, and just expand it and wash it off with gold light. And just use your imagination. Think, well, you don't have to, but I think it's interesting to kind of think of what could be there. For me, at the moment, I'm clearing lots of fear, past life fear from that joint. So again, don't be the fear, just kind of relax and be yourself, and just let the gold light clear whatever little bit you should clear today. And I'll probably put a some kind of a message at the start of the video, but it's of course good to do your daily minimum work first, your unblocking, your grounding, and your oral repair first. And then maybe tomorrow, make sure you do both oral repair and unblocking, grounding, just because this, probably the work you're doing now causes you to release more even tomorrow. So that's probably enough, washing out that sacroiliac, both those sacroiliac joints. So what that means then is the energy flows from your spine to your sacrum to your pelvis bones, right? They're both ilium bones in your pelvis. So then now, as I said, you have your femur bones. Femur bones, they're these giant leg bones, one in each thigh, right? They're really big and strong. And the femur bone, at the end of it, it's got this kind of little ball, it's like this round thing, and that goes into a part of the pelvis on each side, and that's your hip joint. And so that's, again, connecting your femur to your pelvis bone right there, to your ilium bones, which are part of your pelvis. And it allows the energy to keep flowing downward. So if it's too blocked in that hip joint, it's going to go, it won't be able to flow downward well, or it might go, and it won't be able to flow upward better. So let's imagine that joint. Imagine, you can imagine both at once, or do one side at a time, however your mind works. I'm probably gonna do one at a time. And again, you imagine the big femur bone, and particularly the big round part that forms the joint with the ilium bone of your pelvis. And just imagine that space in between where the strong ligaments are and all the cool nerve endings that my chiropractor talks about. And just wash it off with lots of gold light. You can bring up red earth energy from the center of the earth and just soak that area that is your hip joint. So gold light and red earth energy, and gold light. And you can start to be aware, if you want, of what you're clearing with the gold light, but again, that's optional. So maybe it's some sadness, or some anger, or some grief, or some fear, or it could be all sorts of things. So you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to feel it. Just let it wash down to the center of the earth, or let it just melt away instantly on contact with the gold light. For me, just for an example, I'm washing out some past life sadness that is in this particular hip joint. And I don't have to feel sad when I'm doing it. And why is that? Well, it's because I'm fully present and my grounding is unblocked. So that way, it can just release and get cleaned up by the center of the earth. And if it's my energy, it'll come back to me. And plus a lot of it'll just transform right away with the gold light. So I can clear away sadness without feeling sad. I can clear away anger without feeling anger. Maybe I feel it like 1%, but it's not something that takes me over and now I'm really sad. It's not like that. So if anytime you clear sadness, you get taken over by the sadness, something's off with your technique. So you could post a question down below if that's the case. Most likely your grounding is blocked though, if that happens to you. So just redo the unblocking, grounding, or repair video and that'll fix it. So again, we're washing out a hip joint. And if you haven't done the other one yet, go ahead, now's the time. Imagine your other hip joint. And again, that's where your femur bone, the round part of your femur bone, connects to your ilium bone, which is part of your pelvis. So your leg bone connects to your pelvis at the hip joint. And so just imagine an enlarged version of this hip joint. Bring up the red earth energy and gold light. I'm finding more past life anger here. And you might want to move around as you do this work, like do a little stretching at the same time, but you don't have to. But since I'm standing, it's kind of easy for me to do that. All right, and just kind of trace energy flow. So like imagine, so like energy can flow down your whole spine and then through your sacrum and then into the ilium bones, which are bones of your pelvis. So spine, sacrum, ilium bones of your pelvis, and then through those hip joints into the femur bones, those big thigh bones you have. Okay, so that's sort of the route that we're doing in this video. We went from the spinal flow, well, you did the spinal flow in a different video, but we went from the sacrum, which is at the very bottom of the spine, almost the very, very bottom. There's just a little tailbone, coccyx bone below that. Anyway, so we went from the sacrum bone to the pelvis, basically, the ilium bones, which are your pelvis. So we did that joint, the sacroiliac joints, and then we went from the pelvis to the thigh bone, the femur, on either side with your hip joints. So we did a lot of major joints. We did your sacroiliac joints and your hip joints, right? So energy now can flow better upward and downward, which is really important. Okay guys, good job. Woohoo! I'm gonna make another video so that you could work this, your femur bone more, and your knee joint, and then your ankle joint in the next video. So the next one will be your legs and your feet, basically. Okay, thanks. Bye.